I'm hungry, but I'm not desperate. Like, I need the business, but I don't need the headache. That's where I am 14 years in. If you would ask me this when I first started, yes. But I've learned a lot of lessons. And I talk about it in my book called The Ugly Side of Real Estate. If you haven't purchased it, please do.
If we don't know who we're trying to attract, if we're not people of interest, then we just take anybody with a pulse. We attract unenlightened people. They don't have the time, interest, or the money. They have a common perspective. It's a one-sided relationship, leads to you wanting to strangle them. People of interest would never, ever operate that way.
The last thing I'm going to share is, I remember last night on the phone I kept saying, because he was listing out all the things that he did, and I'm like, man, you got a gorgeous house. He was like, I don't know about a great, or I might have said great. He was like, I don't know about that, but that reminded me of a lesson. Don't ever throw out a price to a seller before you actually lay eyes on the house. Because I did that one time. I looked at the online pictures and I kind of threw out a range, and when I got there and saw the house in person, the house looked nothing like the last listing photos, and the seller would not let me backtrack. So he went ahead and listed. The seller would not let me reduce the price, so the house ended up expiring. Then when it came time for her to list it again, she did not use me, and she listed at the price that I was trying to get her to drop down to. And I could do a whole other video about that, because I was in there cleaning her house, getting this house ready to show perfectly. And then when she goes ahead and lists it with somebody else, that agent didn't give two cares. The listing photos, like the beds weren't even made. And I'm like, lesson learned. Do not throw out a price to some sellers, and don't be going above and beyond, because some men will not appreciate it. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna sign out here. Do you have any stories like that? Drop it down below. Please drop it down below. I'm gonna share one more. This newer agent in my office was saying that, like, her neighbor contacted her to sell an investment property and it needed some work, like a fence needed to be fixed. So she was like, my husband's a handyman. He'll go ahead and do the work. He won't charge you labor. You just pay for the materials. They did it. He's still waiting on the money for the materials. Meanwhile, she's withdrawn the house. And in this process, she's talking about how she's such a God-fearing woman and such and such. Oh, that added ice into the cake. Not ice into the cake, but that made me even more mad. You did her dirty. You withdrew the listing, didn't listen to anything she had to say, didn't pay her husband for the materials. You already getting the labor for free, and then you're going to throw God into it? Don't do that. Don't do that. Who is your pastor? And what God are you serving where you're behaving like this? All right, I'm really done. I'm really done here. Signing off now. All right, have a positive, peaceful, and productive day.